Hey, what the hell is going on? Hey, could you do something with? I don't know what's going on with the camera. It keeps buzzing. Okay, what the hell is buzzing? Could you do something? Could you take a look at it real quick? What the hell is going on every time I try to? Shadowrunners of the 6th Age, this is Jackpoint, your one-stop shop for your data needs. Alright chummers, Mr. Johnson is looking for a bleeding-edge team of elite runners to do his dirty work in the shadows. Sounds legit, except for one small problem. Your meat doesn't match your gender. You need to come up with a team, and quick. So, who do you look for and what does the run require? Let's take a look at some of the various runners you might find hanging out down at Dante's Inferno. Now, this list is by no means definitive, it's simply a collection of specialists most likely to run the shadows. Part 1. Magic. The Adept. Magically enhanced, awakened close combat specialists, the Adept focuses on body and mind to enhance their natural abilities beyond that of the typical metahuman. Rejecting cyberware, Adepts can be as powerful as any technologically enhanced vat job. Mage. Magic in the shadows is incredibly complex and varied, much like everything else in the 6th world. From slinging spells to creating enchantments, mages can do just about anything they set their mind to. Mages adhere to at least 2 different traditions of magic, Hermetic and Shamanistic. Your typical battle mage is a Hermetic, using scientific trials and time-tested traditions to harness the power of mana. Shamans, however, use urge, feeling, and experience to perform magical miracles. Both traditions will trash the methods of the other, if given leave to grouse. Battle mages and street shamans are 2 of the typical spell slingers you'll run into, but it's far from the full extent of magic in the shadows. Technomancers. I never met one myself, but the word around the beat is these awakened metahumans can access the Matrix with their minds. I don't know how that's even possible, but sure. Maybe they're attuned to the frequencies of the wireless world, or maybe they're genetically altered freaks that escaped a Renraku lab. Part 2. Machine. Rigger. Strap yourself into that Suzuki Mirage, secure your plasteel helmet, and jam down the highway as fast as your physical reflexes can take you. It works for the go-gangers, sure, but does it work for the team? Why use your physical reflexes when you can use your mind? When speed of thought is more important than looking good, call the Rigger. Cars, tanks, drones, and the rest are there at the Rigger's command. Decker. Hey, Dreckhead, see that virtual overlay in your AR glasses? You like all those targeted ads from Ares that pop up every time you leave Soybucks? If only there was a way to bend the Matrix to your every desire. Well, there is. Get yourself a cyberdeck, turn the temp on that sim way up, I'm talking hot, and be the cowboy you always wanted to be. Deckers are hackers, chum, and they get you into and out of all the virtual vaults the good cred's hidden in. Street Samurai. A bit of a catch-all term, the Street Sam is a chromed-out war machine who lives by a code. The legit Street Sam is the type of wired nightmare that actually adheres to old-school honor, taking the term samurai to new levels of serious. Don't stand in the way of a Street Sam with a mission unless you want to get geeked. Side note, lots of wired-out mercs will call themselves Street Sams. Not all of them follow a strict code. Make sure you do your homework before you offer the job to a pair of shiny cyberarms. Part 3. The Specialty Players. You'd love to negotiate the job and get a better payday. The only problem is your tongue is as fat as your tusks and just as nimble. Worry not, my trog chummer, that's what the face is for. Full of personality, wit, and cunning, the face makes your job and mine a little more worthwhile, and I'll probably make sure you don't rip my spine out for that trog comment. Covert Ops Specialist. If you've never ran afoul of the Covert Ops Specialist, it's because they were all doing their job properly. Sneaky, quiet, and deliberate, the Covert Ops is an expert at getting in and out of places without raising an alarm or ever being seen. While some relish leaving bodies in their wake, the Covert Ops Specialist prefers to leave nothing to lead back to them. Weapons Specialist. If there's a gun, knife, rocket, or bomb fit for the job, the weapons specialist has it covered. Some of these types have served in various militaries or corpsec jobs, and now they apply their genius and augmentations to the shadows. Any job that needs firepower needs a weapons specialist to keep hoops out of the fire. Is this an exhaustive list? Nah. Did I miss your particular specialty and now you feel unimportant? Tough. Write your congressman. Loading assist module 30758. The year is 2060. Deep in the Metroplex, the Skyer, also known as the Renraku Arcology, shuts down without warning. The massive pyramid is home to nearly 100,000 people. Employees of Renraku, their families, shoppers, doctors, scientists, you name it. For nearly a year, the UCAS military, Renraku security, and any runner with a death wish tried to get into the compound. It turns out the whole ordeal was the act of an artificial intelligence called Deus. Deus was nasty. I hesitate to use the word evil because it's an AI, but if you're the praying type, you'd think it's appropriate. I'm not going to get into the gory details, but this sucker did terrible experiments on folks, on children no less, and assembled his own religiously devout cohort of otaku. Otaku, the children of the Matrix, were able to interface with the wired Matrix without the use of cyberdecks. With rare exception, otaku were children under the age of 21 who worshipped the Matrix with a cult-like devotion. Multiple AIs took advantage of this worship, using and breeding the otaku to carry out their plans in the physical world. As otaku aged, they would slowly lose their abilities until total loss at adulthood. It is believed that technomancers emerged from the otaku with the rise of Matrix 2.0. Deus kept itself locked away for over a year, slowly working on its master plan, which, I guess, finally worked. Deus escaped the Matrix, and don't ask me the particulars. All I know is Deus used the otaku to store himself in biological hard drives, like a network of brains, all exchanging and storing its code. But the war was not over. Deus set its sights on rival AI, Mirage. Do you remember Echo Mirage? Those unsung heroes that fought the crash virus of 2029? Well, they created what is likely the first AI to protect them against harm from the virus. Really long story short, and I'm cutting out all the details here, Mirage and Deus and a whole host of others battled it out for supremacy on the Matrix. This came to a head on November 2nd, 2064, when Deus invaded the East Coast Stock Exchange to use their processing power. ECSE recently updated their servers on the eve of the Novatech IPO. For more on Novatech, touch here. Deus intended to use that processing power to take over the Matrix. I am God here. And the war for the future was won in a nanosecond. Crash 2.0.
Whoa. How are you going to jump ahead to Crash 2.0 and not even address the year of the comet and all the dreck that caused?
How can I give a coherent lesson without going back and forth?
Why is that my problem, deckhead? Go back to 2061 and tell these shadow babies a linear story for once.
2061 is declared Year of the Comet as megacorps rush to design probes to study Halley's Comet. The whole first half of the year is dominated by this space race. Meanwhile, on Earth, things start to get a little strange again. First, Stonehenge seems to repair itself to a prehistoric glory, and the ley lines beneath it start drawing power. Next, the rift left after Dunkelzahn's assassination begins to spew spirits into the material plane. On the same day, Halley's Comet crosses the Earth's path, bringing Surge with it. Surge, sudden unexplained recessive genetic expression, is the second wave of goblinization. More varied than the previous UGE event, Surge caused seemingly random expressions to afflict metahumans and animals. From horns, fangs, and cyclopean features, these newly impacted metahumans were dubbed changelings by the news media. Before the year ends, LA is leveled by a massive earthquake and an astral dragon crawls out of Dunkelzahn's rift. Ghostwalker, that fluffy scamp, decides he's really into Denver and he starts a war for the city. The next 2 years are more of the same chaos, as corps fight, dragons drag, and AIs frag things up all over the Matrix. Crash 2.0, assist loading. Crash 2.0, November 6, 2064. An event that will live on in infamy. The artificial intelligence known as Deus stakes its claim on the ultraviolet power level possessed by the East Coast Stock Exchange in order to rule the very landscape of the Matrix and the world by proxy. Two anti-Matrix cults, the Ex-Passus and Winter Knight, worked to stop this potential meltdown in the most twisted of possible solutions by destroying the Matrix. And destroy it they did. Entire systems failed all over the world, killing thousands of innocents in the process. States and corps alike fell, leaving ashes in their wake. It was only the rise of the wireless Matrix, like the Phoenix of legend, that saved our society. Now, the Grid Overwatch division stands between honest citizens and total economic collapse. Don't let your future be determined by terror. Invest in NeoNet. Tomorrow runs on NeoNet. Loading assist program. Please wait. By 2070, the world settles back into the general swing of things. The wireless matrix that we all know and love is ubiquitous now, and while the world is still a boiling cauldron of dreck, it's the dreck we know. Seattle is still the epicenter of the runner world, due in no small part to its extraterritorial status. However, if you aren't following the data streams, there's forces at work looking to change that. Runoff elections, political scandals, and the independence crowd are looking to make things really interesting. That's it for now. The history of the Sixth World is changing right before our very eyes, and if you want credentials to future trids, leave a comment below. Until then, stay chipped and don't get fragged.